When people think of horror movies, four movies come to mind: Psycho, The Exorcist, The Shining, and Halloween. Well, I haven't seen The Exorcist or The Shining. I know, I am a horror movie fan and I should see those films. As for Psycho, I absolutely love that film. It is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. However, Halloween is completely different. In fact, it is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Yep, that's right, Halloween sucks. I know, people consider it to be one of the greatest horror films ever made. Right up there with Psycho, The Exorcist, and The Shining. I'm here to voice my opinion on why I completely disagree. However, I am met with a problem. This is the same problem confused Matthew has to deal with. Can I really make a negative review of a movie that has received so much praise without getting a major backlash? Now, I don't expect you to agree with me. If you still like this movie, that's fine. However, I'll do whatever I can to voice my opinion on this piece of shit called a film. So now that I've delayed enough, let's go right in. So obviously it starts with the opening credits. However, these credits really caught my attention. Now I have to admit something. I'm going to give this movie a compliment before I have anything to complain about. I love the music for this movie. It is just brilliant and really fits the mood of a horror film. Not this horror film, but it will work well somewhere else. One thing I noticed about this film is that it has very little to do with Halloween. It just takes place on Halloween night, but it can take place anywhere, anytime. They might as well just take place on Christmas and call it Black Christmas. I mean, they have no problems with plagiarizing from other films. You'll see what I mean in a bit. Another thing to note is the small budget. Let's put it this way. Psycho, an already low-budget film, has a budget of about $800,000. Halloween has a budget of $320,000. But here's the thing. Anyone could just walk around and talk about nothing and then scream. The actors obviously didn't deserve that much pay. And here's a fun fact. Christopher Lee was offered the part of Sam Loomis, but declined because of such low pay. However, he says he regrets not taking the role. Okay, Lee, you were in Lord of the Rings. Why would you want to play a guy who just walks around and looks at stuff, then talks about how evil some guy is? So finally, let's get into the movie. It starts with a point of view shot of someone who slowly goes to stab a girl and kill her. Then he leaves, and his parents unmask him to reveal that he is 6-year-old Michael Myers. Okay, you got me. I love this scene. It's not scary, but creepy as hell. The point of view shot is done extremely well, and the fact that the boy murders his sister at age 6 is very intriguing. Then we get to the next scene, which is not as great. It takes place 15 years later. We are introduced to Dr. Sam Loomis, who is Michael's psychiatrist. He states that Myers hasn't spoken a word since he killed his sister. Okay, if he refuses to talk, why would he need a psychiatrist? Also, Sam Loomis, really? As in the fiancé from Psycho? Guys, I might as well make a superhero film and name the main hero Peter Parker. I mean, come on, at least try to hide the fact that you're stealing someone else's name. Don't choose a name for such a popular movie. So then they get to the asylum where Michael is broken loose. We are never told how, but who cares? We need more screen time to watch people walk around, right? Another problem with this scene is that the music plays before anything actually happens. The music should play right when we see something suspicious. But it doesn't. It plays before. Why? They were just talking about nothing. Why was there music there? So then Myers attacks. There's nothing scary about the scene because we see any supposed scares before they actually happen. So then Michael Myers steals the car and drives away. Then Loomis says, he's gone. The evil is gone. What a lame line. I mean, wait a minute. Michael can drive? He can fucking drive? Michael Myers, a guy who won't talk and has been stuck in an asylum since he was 6, can drive? What did he learn to drive when he was 6? What the hell? So then our main character, Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is introduced. You know it's a shame when this movie is the movie that launched her career. It's like Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun. Anyway, she walks around and talks to some kid. However, there's scary music in the scene. Why? There's nothing scary going on. It's just one girl talking to one boy. Later, some boys harass the boy who's talking to Laurie. Then one of the boys runs into Michael Myers. What I really don't understand about this scene is Myers is about to get his hands on the boy, but just lets him go rather than killing him. Why? He won't kill children? I thought he was pure evil. After that, Laurie goes to walk with two of her friends. Then one of her friends sees a car drive by with Michael Myers in it. She thinks it's someone else and calls him a jerk. Myers stops the car, then drives away. Okay, was he offended by being called a jerk or something? How is this menacing? So then we get into 20 minutes with numerous problems. First we see numerous scenes with Myers appearing, then disappearing. Okay, I have two theories on how this can happen, both containing problems. The first is that he runs away as fast as he can. However, I thought he couldn't run for some reason. When he is chasing people, he never runs, he just walks. So why is he running now? Or maybe he has teleportation powers. Subtle, huh? Might as well bring in an alien invasion. Also, there's nothing creepy or scary about this disappearing act. It's just weird. Lastly, why is he breathing so heavily? That isn't menacing. That's stupid. Another problem I have is that they keep playing music at inappropriate times. Why? What's the point of playing scary music when people are just walking around doing nothing? It either plays for no reason or too soon. You know I've noticed a pattern for these 20 minutes. First, Loomis looks for evidence only to find the same evidence every time. That Myers is there. Then Laurie talks to her friends about stuff we don't give a crap about. Then she sees Michael Myers appear and disappear. I got so tired of watching the same things happen over and over again. So then Loomis visits the Myers house with some guy. Then he makes his famous speech about how Myers is pure evil. So what I can barely get from the speech is that Myers was born evil, but was raised in a good family. However, the good family part I can barely infer, so for all I know, he was abused as a child. And the fact that he was born evil is only explored once and means nothing to the film. I know that it should add to his creepiness, but if you go and take that road, at least have the characters talk about it a bit more. So then Laurie Strode is babysitting the boy. He sees Myers and assumes he's a boogeyman. Okay, why? It's just some guy in a mask. On Halloween! Wow, this boy is dumb. So then he informs Laurie about it, but she doesn't believe him because she doesn't see anything. However, she knows about his disappearing act, so why the hell won't she believe him? So this film is 90 minutes long. We've gone through over 40 minutes without any kills or excitement. Yeah, you call this a horror film? Well, here we go. We get our first kill. Now here's my problem with Michael Myers killing people. We only see him kill 3 people. The sister doesn't count because we don't see him do anything, we just see her die. All the other deaths are completely meaningless. The way I see it, there are only 2 emotions they might expect us to gather from seeing these people die. The first is sadness, but we don't know these 3 characters at all, so why would we care when they die? The other is happiness from seeing annoying teenagers get killed. Obviously, I'm not going to feel that because they were just a little annoying. Annoying in that we don't get satisfaction from seeing them get killed. So I'm not sure if we are supposed to feel sad or satisfied because I'm feeling neither. This brings me to the next scene, the scene where 2 teens have sex. Now I'm going to tackle an argument that many people might use against me. They might say that I don't want to watch a well-made subtle horror film. I want to watch a gore and boob fest with no story or characters. Okay, first off, this movie has no story or characters. Second off, this movie has boobs right in this scene. So this film is closer to a gore and boob fest than a well-made horror film like Psycho or The Exorcist. However, I'm going to tackle another issue. Here's what makes the film so profoundly bad. I am willing to accept either types of 2 horror films. I like well-made horror films as well as gore and boob fests. I'm actually pretty easy on horror films. While most critics will pan the gore and boob fests, I'll take them for what they are. The problem with this movie is that it has neither. No story, hardly any character or character development, no scares, thrills, chills, or gore. So what's the appeal of this movie? It has almost nothing. And no, one topless scene does not make a movie. However, I will give credit where credit is due. When the teen boy opens the closet and Myers pops out to attack him, that is pretty shocking. But then we see one of the most unintentionally funny parts of any film. Michael Myers puts a sheet over his body and then wears glasses over it. I mean, come on, just look. How the hell is that creepy? He looks so silly that there's no way I could ever take him seriously ever again. So now we get to the climax. Laurie goes to the house where 2 teens have sex and they then got killed. Then she sees Judith Myers, Michael's sister's dead body, on the bed with the tombstone. Then she sees the two teens' dead bodies. I also have to admit, this scene is pretty damn creepy. So, after this, Michael appears and chases Laurie. I have to admit, this scene is pretty suspenseful. She goes back to the house, and Michael chases her inside. Then she stabs him in the neck, he gets up, she stabs him in the eye, and he gets up. Okay, that's not creepy. That makes no sense. Is he supposed to be supernatural or something? So then Laurie pulls off his mask, and we see his face. Part of the whole intrigue was not seeing his face, so why are we seeing it now? So then Dr. Loomis arrives and shoots Michael. He falls off a balcony, then they look down and he's gone, setting up for the sequel. Okay, this ending brings up so many problems. First of all, how is this supposed to be the ending? He was stabbed many times when he got up, then he is shot but he gets up. Then it ends. Nothing was resolved, nothing was concluded, it just stopped. My next problem is that Laurie has no reason to be the main character. Yeah, I know, in Halloween 2, she is revealed to be Michael's sister. However, we don't know that in this film, and I'm judging this film by being a first film. Anyway, the only reason anyone might say she is the main character is she was there when Myers got shot. However, he survived, so it didn't really matter. Just because she was there when he got shot is not enough to make her a main character. In fact, either of the children could have been the main character. They had just as much to do with this movie as she did. Now here's my last problem. Not only are the characters not developed, they never come in contact. Myers isn't really a character because he has no personality. He's just a force of nature. The only people we really could consider to be the characters are Laurie and Sam Loomis. However, they don't even know that each other exists till the end, and when they meet at the end, they only exchange one line with each other. With this little character interactions, how am I supposed to care about them? I know, many of you don't appreciate me bashing a movie you probably like so much. I'm sorry, but I really hate this movie. I don't see why it gets so much praise. While it does have some redeeming qualities, the problems are just too overwhelming to make this movie good. It has nothing to it except a good score and very few good scenes. Other than that, this movie is just a big chunk of nothing. It's not just bad, it's horrible. I'll give it a D.